We're back again. Hello. This is me and this Chris, and then JP is here, and Jake is over there. There's Jake. And Sean's not here. He's at one of the million weddings that he's going to this month. We're going to play FTL, which is a space game that I just thought it might be fun to stream it because we were talking about it on the cast this week, and because it's in beta, so most people don't have access to it unless you backed their Kickstarters, or their Kickstarter, their single Kickstarter that was incredibly successful. And it's a cool game. I don't know if it'll be good for streaming, so we're going to find out. Maybe it won't be. And then, sorry. Their Kickstarters, or their Kickstarter, their single Kickstarter. That would, Are you getting? Is anyone getting crazy reverb?
No.
Weird thing just came out of my computer.
Oh, now yes.
Shit. Okay, well, I don't know if anything's right or not. I guess we'll just start.
Yeah, it seems like it's okay.
So, FTL, if you are not familiar with it, is it's sort of like, it's kind of called a roguelike, but it's, I don't know how accurate that really is. It's a game where you're given a ship and 3 crew members to start, and you navigate through space and have encounters and fight things, and it's incredibly unforgiving, and it's all just about trying to get as far as you can through this series of sectors of space without your crew members dying or ship blowing up or anything. And so it's got kind of the tonal elements of a roguelike, but the mechanics are totally different. So it's cool. So I don't think... Alright, so this is... We're at the Idle Thumbs office right now, so I don't have access to any of the stuff I've unlocked, because I guess they don't... This is the beta, so I guess they're not supporting Steam Cloud. I don't know if they will later. Actually, someone in chat is asking, what is a roguelike? I don't know, JP, you seem like the best person to answer that. Do you want to do that?
Oh my. A roguelike means that it's like Rogue, which is to say a very old style of game that came about on mainframes in like the 70s and 80s and stuff. The most well-known ones are probably like Rogue and NetHack and Moria and Angband, possibly. They are... a lot of them are still use ASCII graphics, a la Dwarf Fortress, and they're turn-based dungeon crawl type things in which you descend through progressively harder levels of a procedural dungeon, and so yeah, and you know are doing like monster killing and picking up loot and eating food and casting spells and finding weird items that you need to identify before you know how they work or what they do, and so that's kind of the mechanics, and just as much a part, like there's this whole aesthetic of difficulty that most roguelikes seem to subscribe to, which is that they're very difficult and unforgiving, and the idea is that you die a lot and restart, and you restart a playthrough and you just know more. You're just a better player of the game this time around. And so like yeah, it's come to me like roguelike has come to mean, roguelike still means it's very much in that tradition of games, but I would say what FTL is, and what a whole like kind of a new wave of indie games for the last few years have been, is roguelike-like, which is a real term that people refer to things as. Like Spelunky is kind of a roguelike-like, in that it's it's procedurally generated and difficult, and you're meant to fail a bunch, and it's all about the systemic use of these tools and stuff.
And it has permadeath.
Yes, and it has permadeath. That's another thing that is pretty core to that.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Yeah, and Diablo is kind of a weird offshoot of roguelikes that went in its own direction and stuff.
Right. So we might have to... Yeah. Looks like the whole screen is not quite on here, so you guys can't see...
You can also just go to full screen.
That's true. I'll go to full screen when we start the thing.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone has any demands for what we name our crew members here.
Oh,
in this
at least
run.
see what Steve Gaynor's list of demands is.
Steve Gaynor apparently wrote in with his own suggestions for crew member names, so I don't know what they are, so Jake has those, I think. You can change the little their little top-down view, although you don't have very many. You only have 2 options.
Choice of Lords.
Right now. I think you...
Oh, I don't know. Steve was actually... That was an unrelated email.
Oh. So Steve didn't write it?
So you should use the contents of that unrelated email to name the crew members, I think is what you should do.
Steve was talking about how his character in FTL may be named Scoops from back in the Kickstarter.
Oh, that was his...
well, we definitely need to try out the Nick Brecken thing just to see if...
Oh, right. So we might crash
was...
the game right now. So apparently, is it just Nick Brecken?
Nick Brecken with no spaces, capital N, capital B.
All right, Nick Brecken claims that naming a character Nick Brecken will crash the game. Seems fine. It works. Nick Brecken.
They fixed it / he was
Nick Breck.
Nick Breck. All right. So Nick Breck. Who else do we want here? Is it just going to be the absent thumbs? Is that we can have?
Yeah,
is that what we're doing now?
Yeah,
so
Scoops.
So Scoops and
Scoops and Famous.
We love you, Steve.
Nick Breck, Scoops, and Famous. It should probably be F Nick. Nick Breck's fine. The famous Nick Breck.
Moving at a Nick Breck speed.
All right.
Oh God.
Faster than light.
All right, so we've got Nick Breck, Scoops, and Famous. These are our crew members. I forget what order it puts them, so we'll find out once we start the game what roles they each have. Oh, there's an easy mode. I've never played on easy. Maybe for the stream, maybe I should do easy to increase the likelihood that we won't just eat shit. I've never actually done that before.
Okay, let's play baby mode.
All right, we're going to play easy now. If it turns out to be not interesting enough, then we'll...
If it turns out that it makes it look like we're really good at this, we'll change the difficulty.
Yeah. All right, so that's funny. I've never actually tried this. It's probably pretty much the same. Okay, so when you start the game, you've got your 3 members here, and the first thing you're always going to want to do is make sure that you've got each of your crew members assigned to a room. So actually, I'm going to switch to full screen now so you can actually see some of this stuff. So Famous, it looks like he... Oh, is this game not working? Can I not?
Huh? Click on back into it.
It's not accepting input from my mouse.
That's weird.
Clicks.
Well, this is not good.
That's why it's in beta.
Easy mode.
Our stream setup is in beta.
It's paused.
Oh fuck! It's paused. Jesus, I'm a smart person.
Yeah.
Although
maybe what they should do there is they should dim the screen behind the pause notification a little bit.
Jesus. Okay. All right. So
dark quad there.
So the way this is, the way this worked out is that
It's easy mode. It's fine.
I swear to God, I've played this game before. Okay,
You just never paused it before.
Yeah. So Famous is our engineer. He's in our engine room here. Scoops is our gunner, and Nick Breck is our captain. So Nick Breck and
That's true.
Nick Breck in the bridge. Yeah, as in life. So good. Also, when the game starts, each of your systems, be they weapons or engines or oxygen or shields, takes a certain amount of energy, which is listed in the lower left of your screen. You actually start with more systems than you have energy to power. So the first thing you need to do is make a call on what you want to power, and I find that the burst laser is much more valuable than the missiles. So I'm going to power my burst laser and my engines fully, because engines allow you to evade shots more easily. So
The beacon map.
yep. I find that on the first stage is usually pretty easy, so I try to go out of my way to hit as many nodes as I can without worrying about getting to the exit really quickly. You've got limited fuel, so you do need to be careful about not dawdling too long, and also you start getting chased from the left side of the screen by rebels after a certain point. So there is an element of urgency, but at the beginning of the game it's not too difficult. So I'm just going to start kind of
It's paused.
It's always paused when you start an encounter, and then it unpauses
Paused.
after you continue through. So this is fun. The very first thing I encountered is a sun, which sucks because it periodically causes solar flares that fuck your shit up. So you'll see that in a second. This really seems to be doing a number on my mouse control still, even though it's not paused anymore. Great, and immediately my oxygen is taken out, and my ship is already unflamed. This is a really convenient thing to happen first. So as you can see, the first thing I did was target the enemy's weapons system. So I immediately disabled his weapons. So at least now I'm only battling this star and not this guy. So he's dead, but now my goddamn ship's on fire. So this is ridiculous. This is already I'm
my
already
God,
just
yeah.
totally fucked.
This
This
is
is
a problem.
hilarious. Okay, so my ship has no oxygen and there's flames, which is a really bad combination. All right,
Wow.
this is done. This is an ill-fated mission. This is we're just
Easy mode. No, no big deal.
so good.
Oh my god, yeah.
So this is just
Yeah,
this
engine
is
room
just
on fire.
a catastrophe. I don't, even if I can, I'm down to one crew member. It's down to Nick Brecken valiantly trying to put out these
Everybody's dead,
flames. This is over. Nick Breck's dead any second now. There,
Yep.
it's over.
Jeez.
Score 60. This might be the lowest scores I've ever gotten.
Can you turn the music volume down a tiny bit?
Yeah. Let me turn the music down a bit. So I'm going to restart. So when you restart, it just puts you right back in the first screen with your same crew members and everything. Okay, let's try this again. Famous, back to the engine room. Scoops, back to the gunners.
So this is a new game session. You'll get different encounters this time around and stuff.
Yeah, everything's randomly generated, within constraints. So, all right, that was something. Let's try that again.
It's just so you know the game is serious.
Yeah. This is just the game's way of just letting you know. All right, here we go. So once again, I'm first going to target the enemy's weapons room. This seems a much more of a manageable encounter. Actually, I really lucked out. So the enemy ship and his little drone that's zooming around me both just have beam-type weapons, which cannot bust through my shields. So I'm actually basically totally safe. So now what I'm going to focus on is knocking out his engines so that he can't jump away before I have a chance to destroy him and take his stuff. Someone's recommending I use my missiles, but that's totally unnecessary here because he's not a threat at all to me. So missiles missiles are a limited resource, whereas lasers are not. So I tend to avoid using my missiles unless I have to.
It's kind of like the old laser weapons versus ammunition-based weapons in the original XCOM.
Right. Ah, god damn it. And he jumped away in time anyway. Well, that's fine. I didn't take any damage. I didn't lose anything, so it's a wash. So that was fun. Ugh, here's another sign. Holy crap.
So can you just
someone...
leave?
Okay, so that's a good question. So JP asked, can you leave? Someone else is saying, could you have jumped away from the sun to help save the ship? So the thing is, you can't jump until your FTL drive is fully charged, and you can see that meter at the top of the screen. And in order for your FTL to charge, your engines need to be operational, and you need a pilot in the bridge. You need a captain in the bridge, and then if those things aren't both true, then your FTL drive will not charge. So past a certain point, you can just get screwed. So this is another horrible solar encounter here. Let's see how this goes. This is a new enemy type that they just introduced the other day, I think. So they have you can see here this little meter. This is actually a shield that has a certain amount of total charge, as opposed to most ships' shields, which just have a system that powers them, and if you knock out the system, the shield's gone. But this, you need to bust through. God damn it, this is...
Problems.
I don't know if this is easy mode, really, but that's fine. So, time
Well, your
to-
FTL drive is well, yeah. We'll probably
So
do
see,
that
now they
before
just
it's
knocked out my...
and you lost
they
power.
knocked out my bridge as well, and also my weapons are gone, so... People are saying vent the ship, which, yeah, true, I vent the ship. That's what I should be doing right now. So if you open up your bulkheads, oxygen will decrease in the ship, and fires will go out more quickly. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Wait,
Although
who's dead?
no one's dead right
Oh,
now.
you're all hiding.
Although honestly, this early in the game, I feel like there's kind of no point in continuing if you're at this point. Like, I'm only 2 screens in, so there's not necessarily much reason to actually keep playing. So, just in the... Well, I guess we're fine. I don't know.
Let's see what you can do with such a daring
So I'm going to jump to the store just to give myself The nice thing about going to a store node is that there's never any enemies there, so it just kind of gives you some time
Everyone's friends at the store now.
to fix things. So you see my guys here repairing the medical bay or whatever it is.
So that they can then be healed.
So then, yeah, now they're getting healed,
anymore.
and so there's no more fires in my ship, but the oxygen is quite low. You can tell because the rooms are tinted. And I need to repair my weapons. Man, this is some of the worst luck I've started with in a while. Someone's asking if this is how hard it always is.
No, this is on easy mode.
And yeah, that's on easy mode. I do have to say, though, that this is a case where I don't think easy or normal affects actually the random roll of what you encounter. I think it just affects how hardy the enemies are and things like that.
It can't be likely for you to be jumping to stars this many times in an early game like this, right? Or is it? I mean,
yeah, I mean, this is... I've played a lot of this game, and usually I get much, much farther than this without encountering such a bad situation. So, I mean, it's just luck of the draw. This is how... I mean, this is just part of how games like this work is that sometimes you're just going to get a crazy...
Although you can weight stuff differently, like... maybe they could say you're less likely to jump to a star in your first, 5 encounters or something.
According to chat, easy mode, you gain more scrap and the enemies have less health. And that's
Okay,
that's
so
the
yeah.
big mechanic.
That's consistent
So
with
weaker
how
enemies, more
guys have died.
scrap. Scrap is money, basically. Yeah. So that makes sense. That's what I would expect in easy mode. So it doesn't affect the random rolls.
Your jump destinations and stuff.
Yeah. The other thing you can do to store is repair your ship, which I'm going to do right now. I'm not going to repair it fully because I still kind of feel like I'm early enough in the game that I shouldn't be destroying. Someone suggests dropping medbay power till you need it. Yeah, that's something I often do. I usually don't bother this early in the game because it's actually rare that I need my missiles this early, so I just don't bother. But yeah, I might as well. So that's a good suggestion. That'll allow me to power my missiles because I'm not powering my medbay.
So I haven't played this before. What happens later in the game that makes you capable of withstanding that encounter in front of the star?
Over the course of the game, as you destroy enemies and come across lucky encounters, you'll get more scrap, which is money. You'll find things to upgrade your ship with. You'll buy upgrades for your ship, new weapons. I'll show you the upgrade system. So, especially early in the game, it's almost always better to engage in an encounter when it's offered. So there's a rebel ship nearby, and I'm going to demand the surrender of their goods because why not? Yeah, this guy has a missile launcher, and he's got he's got the type of dude who fires a little laser, which is actually more dangerous because that knocks out my shield every time he fires it. I'm getting pretty lucky actually right now, so this is so far so good. As you can see, I've knocked out his weapons. His weapon systems on the opposing ship are red, so and now his engines are red, so that means he can't warp away. So next, I'm going to try and take out his little helper.
Is the system that's powering that thing?
Yeah, so see, now I knocked out his drone control, so his drone is not moving. He's got his weapons back, so I'm going to target his weapons again. Which hopefully I do before his missiles spool up. Yep, and there it goes, so he's gone. So then you get stuff for that happening. So I got 16 scrap and a laser, which is nice.
The little text boxes make me want to play Flotilla.
Yeah, this is, if you haven't played Flotilla, which is by Brendan Chung, the guy who made 30 Flights of Loving, you should play it. It's really cool. It's a similar structure to this, but a totally different combat paradigm.
Yeah. It's like 3D space combat in kind of a brain-twisting spatial tactics sort of thing. So very different from this, but
yeah,
the personality that comes through in the little interstitial
right.
activities.
Yeah, for sure.
Really awesome.
So someone says, how do you feel about games with these types of sporadic difficulty curves versus games with smoother ones? I don't know if either of you guys have any opinions about that.
Well, I don't really believe in the idea of a game with a perfectly smooth difficulty curve because that might be like a game that sounds like, and this might be just a straw man, but like a game with no challenge. Every game, in order for a game to have any sense of texture or pacing, it's going to have a little bit of a few lumps in its difficulty curve and just in like what you as a player can deal with.
Yeah.
That said, there's ways that you can. There's ways you can change the design. Like as I mentioned before, like the original XCOM is a really good example of something that it's challenging and you will definitely get creamed. And there's a lot of advanced knowledge that you have to have in that game, which I think is a weakness of it when you're going back to it today. But they did a whole bunch of stuff to make sure that the beginning of the game was at least something where you could get a foothold. you know, and so, you know, that's like, it's challenging, so it does, its difficulty curve does have some real bumps when you're on your way up, but I think it's a fantastic example of game design.
Yeah, I totally
and
agree.
this game is kind of doing some of the same stuff, and maybe some of this stuff, you know, it's still in development, and or maybe some of the stuff that it's throwing at you is a little too early to handle, but that's one of the things that's interesting about roguelikes, is that, you know, like, just part of that style of game is just that it's okay if the difficulty curve has some unreasonable, has some things that kill players in it, you know?
Yeah.
It's just that kind of attrition is okay because there's an emphasis on multiple game sessions.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm just going to point out the upgrade system here. So, oh, and one thing you want to do after a battle, just make sure all your guys are all healed up. So look over on the left side and look at your guys' health, and if any of them are below full, stick them over in the med bay and let them heal up. Also, you can see over here, the reason you want to pick a system for each of your guys and keep them there is because they will level up that thing as they use it. So Nick Breck, you can see here, piloting, he is about 2/5 of the way through leveling up his piloting skill. Scoops is a little bit on about 1/5 on weapons, and Famous about 1/3 on his engine maintenance or whatever. So yes, the reason it says the video game, someone's asking, is because that's what I named my ship. And usually one of the first things I upgrade once I get some scrap, this is your upgrade screen for your ship, is where you upgrade systems and buy more energy to power those systems. So I usually start just grabbing engines, which is a cheap early upgrade that gives you 5% additional dodge chance to dodge. So I'm going to upgrade my engines, and then I'm going to buy a power bar to power those engines, and then I'm going to actually power them in the lower left here. So now you can see my evade percentage has gone from 20 to 25%. So just now I have a 1/4 chance to dodge a given hit if it comes at me. So that's that. So the last couple battles I won, I haven't really been talking about them that much, but they're most of the time, as right now, early in the game, the battles are not all that horrible. So you can see on the left, there's this encroaching arc. This represents the rebel fleet that is following you and trying to get to the headquarters which is the very end of the game. So you're trying to stay ahead of this so you can get to the end and warn the Federation or whatever the hell the fictional thing is. So I think if I look at this node down here, I think this is close enough to the exit that I can jump there, have an encounter, then still get to the exit before the rebels catch up with me. So the reason I'm going to do that is just to give myself an extra chance to get some more stuff before I'm out of the first sector. So these guys want me to pay money, and I'm going to refuse that, so I'll fight them. So they've got a missile thing, so I'm going to depower my medbay and power my missiles just in case I need it. Alright, so they hit my little door system first, which is not so bad. But just in case, I'm going to fire off a missile. Okay, good. So I knocked out their weapons. Now I'm going to try to knock out their engines to keep them from jumping away. Which I did. So good. And usually what I do when I'm kind of in an optimal situation is I wait until my weapons are just ready to fire before I choose a target, just in case they repair it at the last second. So this is another thing that often happens, is they will offer you, they will try to concede some number of resources if you stop attacking them. I usually refuse unless I'm in a really bad situation because, whatever. Why not?
Choose death.
So we will not accept surrender, I say. Someone says it's best to missile the shield generator. That can be the case. I usually don't bother this early in the game to take out their shields if they only have one shield. If they only have one actual shield. So the reason I just go straight to the systems I want to knock out is because I'm attacking with my burst laser, which has 3 shots. And early in the game, it's usually pretty easy to bust through their shields and attack a system immediately without actually taking out the shields first. Later in the game, when enemies start having like 2 or 3 or 4 shield segments, then you definitely want to knock out their shields before you start attacking. Otherwise, you're never going to bust through it. So that's a matter of taste, I suppose. Here you can see my door system got knocked out. It's red, so I'm going to send 2 guys to repair it.
What does it mean, that system getting knocked
So
out? Like
the door system, the doors open. So when your door system is knocked out, it means that guys still open doors to walk through them, but you can't arbitrarily open and close bulkheads just with mouse clicks.
To vent the ship and
to vent the ship
stuff,
and do other stuff. Yeah, so that's really useful. Yeah. When a certain room of your ship is on fire, it's nice usually to vent. If it's just one room, it's really helpful to just vent like a path from. Oops. Well, now I just in showing that I just made this room devoid of oxygen here, so it's going to take some time before it gets back to normal. But anyway, whatever. So I'm going to jump to the exit now. And so this is a ship that offered me a bribe right out of the gate. I'm looking at them, and they have a missile right here, a laser, and one
sick paint job.
and a sick paint job, and only 1 shield block. So I'm going to go ahead and just fight them. I'm going to attack. I tend to play these early battles relatively in a somewhat risky way. Where so there I lost my weapons. They knocked out one of my weapon energy slots, but that's still enough to power my burst laser, which is generally what I actually use. So they're doing some damage, but I should be okay. All right, so I did knock out their weapons. They've done some damage, but their weapons are gone now, so it shouldn't be too big of a deal.
The AI seems to intentionally not target you in quite as thoughtful or tactical a way.
Yeah, although as the game goes on, they seem to get a lot more
better about it,
ruthless about that. Someone says, have you beaten the boss yet? No, I haven't, unfortunately. I've beaten the first phase of the boss, so this is one of those irritating boss battles where you beat the boss, or it seems like you beat the boss, and then the boss warps away and then becomes stronger for reasons that are unknown to me. So I've beaten the first phase of the boss, and I haven't gotten further than that. Alright, so this guy's dead. Someone's asking why the blinking red dot. So that's because this room... I've never seen this before. Destroy the ship and salvage it, or use the leverage you gain by saving their life to convince them to delay the pursuing fleet. I don't really care about delaying the pursuing fleet, so I'm just going to salvage the ship. Alright, so the reason this red light is blinking is because this room has been breached, and I need to go fix it. It's letting oxygen into the... Or it's letting...
It's letting space into the ship.
Yeah, it's letting space into the
Vacuum.
ship.
Let the vacuum in.
So that's repaired. Now these guys they were asphyxiating for a while, so I'm going to repair this med bay and leave them in there to repair a bit. Gotta power my med bay for that to work. Someone asked if you can still get into the beta now that Kickstarter's over. I don't think you can, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was asking about that, because I snoozed and lost.
Yeah. It's so funny. I keep forgetting which of these guys is which system, because I usually, when I play, I've got 3 crew members who are always the same. And so I know really well what my traditional crew members, where they belong in the ship, but I keep forgetting where Scoops and Famous each belong, so I have to keep checking there. Okay, so
Scoops' weapons, Famous'.
I'm now going to... Once you get above about 100 scrap, I find that you can, depending on what shape you're in, that's enough to upgrade your shields. I say depending on what shape you're in because you might want to save money to repair your actual ship. I'm still not too concerned, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade my shields. That's really expensive because you need to pump 2 points into shields, and then you need to power those 2 slots with 2 more power bars. So it's a lot of money. And then don't forget to actually power the system once you upgrade it. So now I have 2 shield slots instead of 1, which is pretty good. It's just a big help. This is the first point where I'm choosing where to go. So you can see that there are 3 different general categories of sector. There's civilian sectors, which are green, hostile sectors, which are red, and nebulas, which are blue. And nebulas are more likely to contain areas that interfere with your systems and disable parts of your ship. I'm going to go that way just because, well, maybe I'll go to the pirate sector. We're still pretty early, and I'm not too concerned about it. And nebulas are a pain in the ass. And you can see that after no matter which way I go, after that, I have a big long string of civilian sectors, which can be really good if you need some help. So first, I'm going to go to this pirate sector. And let's look at the map. So there's a distress call. Distress calls are, they can be any number of things. They can be traps that someone's put down a distress beacon, but it's just an enemy. They can be quests you get where you'll find someone and they'll say, oh, please deliver this from here to there. Then you'll get a new marker that updates on your thing. Anyway, we'll just go there and see what it is. It's a trap, so that's whatever. It's fine. Hopefully I'll find a store soon. One of the main benefits of stores is that you can repair your hull, which is damaged. But I don't think this guy's going to be too big a deal. The nice thing about having these two shields is that if you take out their missiles and they just have lasers left, they're unlikely to be able to do anything against you, because lasers are blocked by shields. So it just gave me a little pop-up that said he's trying to escape. So I'm going to try to attack his engines now to keep that from happening. Oop! I missed his engines with all 3 shots, so he might actually jump away before I can kill him. Yep, and he did. I could be using my missiles to knock out his shields and make it a little easier to knock out his systems. I generally don't do that because shields are kind of a precious resource and they're expensive. Or I'm sorry, missiles are an expensive resource and they're expensive to buy. So I generally don't like to waste them on just guys like that are not that big of a threat to me. Oh, someone's asking what the exit on the map is. The exit is where you get to go to the next sector. So every sector has an exit, and when you get there, you're given that higher level map that shows you the different sectors you can go to. There's a civilian ship that is under fire. These are great because once you take out the enemy, you get the loot from the enemy, but then the civilian ship also often gives you some kind of reward for saving them. So here's another one of these new guys that was added in a recent patch. The weird thing about these guys is that they're called the Zoltan or something.
Sweet.
And they're listed, they're shown as friendly on the higher level map, but I very rarely encounter friendly ones, so I'm not sure what that means exactly. They're this wacky shield race, and they seem
Shield race.
The wacky shield race.
They seem like they're kind of the enigmatic, spacey ones. Is what they're supposed to be. There's other enemies that are kind of insectoid, and there's some that are big oafish dudes, and those are different kinds. So there, I've knocked out his weapons, so I'm going to go for his...
Horrible.
Yeah, go for his engines next.
Also, don't mess with this.
So this guy's not really been much of a problem. There, he's gone. Alright, so yeah, so you can see I got the scrap from destroying the civilian ship, and then from destroying the threat to the civilian ship, and then you contact the civilian ship, and he gave me more stuff, so that's totally great. So, good for me. And, I am going to, I've got 74 scrap. I'm going to go in and upgrade my engines. I really like upgrading my engines, because it just gives you another chance to avoid damage entirely. So, you can see my evade chance is up to 30% now. And this can start getting really high once your crew members actually upgrade their abilities. So you can see Nick Brecken is more than halfway to getting his piloting skills upgraded, and Famous is about halfway to getting his engine skills upgraded. Someone's pointing out it's weird to see this playstyle. They just dump missiles all day. Yeah, that's just totally another style. I used to shoot missiles all the time, and I just found it really expensive, and usually the enemies early in the game are not threatening enough for me to make it worthwhile, although maybe that just means I end up spending more money repairing my hull, so who knows. It's probably largely a wash, but if I can get into a point where I can find 2 level 2 burst lasers, I just drop my missiles entirely, because at that point you fire 6 shots every time your weapons spool up, and I find that's just more valuable than having missiles. Alright, so here's ship. Another pretty normal one. This guy only has lasers, you can see. These are lasers. So he has no missiles, so that's... Yeah, well, he made it through, that's fine. Someone's suggesting to blow his O2 out. That's an interesting strategy. I feel like that's longer term than I'm usually comfortable with, but it seems
Like it makes more
valid.
sense for a bigger ship with more sections.
Yeah, I
You're
find
depriving them of that
right.
tactical flexibility.
Ultimately, with these kinds of encounters, I generally just don't even really worry too much at all about what I'm doing because his weapons are such that he's kind of unlikely to do tons of damage to me under any circumstance. So I don't generally get too wacky about it. Do not accept surrender. I forget there. I think you can actually kind of get to identify what kind of enemy, what races and what ship types are more likely to warp away. And I always forget. So
Is that like
I
part
often
of the
attack
personality of those aliens? Or
yeah, I
something?
think it's
Okay,
supposed to be. Yeah. So I generally take out their engines anyway, just to be safe.
Can you accept surrender and then shoot them?
You can not, unfortunately, double cross someone by accepting surrender and then by taking them out. There's no way to do that. Once the battle's over, there's no weapons are no longer active. Someone says there's an achievement for killing them with oxygen. That's pretty cool. I didn't actually know that. So sorry for not doing that. I'll do that in a future encounter.
Just to get that Chivo?
For that Chivo, yeah, Dat Chivo.
Seems like within combat, like pretty much every choice you make is consequential, meaningful. You know,
Yeah,
lots of trade-offs and stuff. Like even just the difference between like choosing to fight with missiles a lot versus lasers.
yeah, for sure. It definitely has a big impact, especially because it affects what you buy, what you sell. So you can sell weapons you're not using and other kind of upgrades you're not using. So that has a big impact then on how much money you have, which in turn has an impact on what you can afford to buy. So this game has a lot of ripple effect from its various systems, which I like a lot.
Yeah, a lot of board gamey touches.
Someone points out that accepting surrender, then shooting them, would essentially be the same as just continuing to fight, because then they would just shoot back, which is true.
Ruthless.
So this seems to be going fine. So after those first couple brutal solar encounters, this seems to be going relatively smoothly right now.
You haven't hit a sun since then.
Yeah.
That's weird. That almost makes me think that they biased it towards.
So someone points out this is true. Ships usually give missiles and scrap for accepting surrender, whereas killing them gives more scrap and fuel. So that's one of the reasons. Like, that's totally true, and that ties into my playstyle, which is not missile focused. So I generally hang on to the missiles I start with, and just save them for when I really need them. So yeah. So I'm at the point right now where my last once I buy one more Dodge, then I start getting to diminishing returns. So up until the next Dodge upgrade, every Dodge upgrade you buy, every engine upgrade you buy, gives you 5% more Dodge. Past that point, it's only 3% each until the end. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait and see. I kind of want to upgrade my ship, so I'm going to save my money just for this second. Someone asked if I'm going to sell this hull laser or upgrade to it. I'm planning on... Well, I might upgrade to it. I really like using lasers, so I might just sell my Artemis missile and then use some of that money to upgrade my... Actually, you know what? I'm really stupid. I should be not even using my burst laser. I should be using my... I should buy another energy and use this hull laser, because it's strictly better than my burst laser. It just costs one more energy. The only risky thing about this is that if I really need a missile, then I have to deactivate my hull laser, activate my missile, and then it'd have to start charging again. But generally speaking, I much prefer lasers, so I'm doing that for now. Someone points out that there's longer charge time, and so it is worse. That might be true. I don't have a lot of experience with this missile, with this weapon. So we'll see how it goes. I might have made a bad call right now. And I did not manage to take out his missile, which is not what I like. Let me go put out that fire. He is firing a lot of missiles at me right now. Fortunately, they're not hitting essential systems, but... Oh, someone points out this laser is better if you target hull. They're right. I don't use this weapon often, so I forgot about that. But it does more damage if you target a non-systems room. So once you have their weapons knocked out, yeah, that's a good thing to do. What I probably should have done is used my regular burst laser until I took out his weapon, and then switched to the hull laser and attacked a non-system room. There's some loud stuff going on in here. Let's close the door. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. So here I got all my stuff, and I need to go patch up this hull breach and prepare my doors. Someone suggests upgrading the doors. That's actually something I've never done before. It always seems a little superfluous, but I'm.
What does that do? What do you get for it?
I forget. Let's look. So upgrading your doors gives you blast doors. Oh, okay. So you upgrade to blast doors, and it means that fires and intruders have a tougher time passing through, presumably because they have to blow them up to get through. That does seem valuable. I always forget about stuff like that, because it's when I'm making the call between that or upgrading my shields or my engines or something, I always end up upgrading the thing that seems more obvious, but that could be a case where I'm just being simple.
What can cause your ship to get boarded?
So enemies. So there's a system.
Awesome.
There's a system called. Actually, I forget what it's called, but there's a crew teleport system is what it's called, and it means you can put crew members in that room, and then from there they can warp into the opposing ship. And so similarly, enemies can do that against you. The danger is that it means you have fewer crew members on your ship to put out fires, to man your systems, etc., etc. And same with enemies when they, So one thing that can be nice when they board you is if you take out one of their guns or something, it's harder for them to repair. Some races are really, really good boarders. Like the bug enemies are really strong in combat. So when they board you, it's much tougher than if another race does.
Is accidentally opening doors a common way for new players to die?
Yeah. So there's what I think is a really frustrating choice in this game, which is that there are these two shortcut buttons here, which are close all doors on the ship and open all doors in the ship. And open all doors open all the doors, including the doors to the exterior. I wish there
open interior doors.
Yeah, I wish there was another button that was open all interior doors.
Right.
Which is often a thing I want to do.
Open all doors is a little insane. Just turn inside of spaceship into outside of spaceship.
Yeah. Oh, someone says if your oxygen system is good enough, you can refill breached rooms, that's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
Someone says it opens interior doors, then press it a second time.
Open all doors, only opens interior doors now. Let's give it a shot!
Oh, they must have patched that. Oh man, they did it! Oh, that's the best. Okay, I never tried that because
you were
used to. It did in fact used to open the outside doors, and so I never knew they changed that. So that's great. That's good. That's really good to know. Sorry, everyone, I told you an incorrect thing.
Yeah,
I'm glad they did that. Okay, and then if you click it again, it opens all the doors. All right, that's really good to know. So let's go. It always seemed weird to me. Actually, I'm going to switch back to my burst lasers.
Why would you ever open all the doors?
The reason to open all the doors is, for example, if tons of your ship is on fire, or there's enemies all over your ship, and you just open all the doors, then quickly close the doors just to the medical bay or something where your guys are. So your guys are standing in there healing, which essentially makes them almost invulnerable in combat. Floods the entire rest of the ship, makes it devoid of oxygen. Sorry, I'm not paying attention, and now I'm being bad.
Yeah.
So they knocked out one of my shields. And when much of your ship is devoid of oxygen, I could be making this up, but it feels to me like your ship oxygen redistributes faster when your interior doors are open. I could be wrong about that, but it seems like that. I feel like that's the case.
Yeah.
It looks like someone said that in chat too.
Okay, someone seems to be
You can use
confirming that in chat.
O2
Okay,
in chat.
okay,
Or,
cool.
yeah. You
That's a
can use
cool
that to refill the O2 in chat.
In chat, yeah.
So,
Sorry guys, the oxygen's getting a little low in there.
Vent chat.
Chatters are dropping like flies.
So I've gone a while without running into a store, which seems a little unusual, but again, that's just kind of a luck of the draw thing, presumably.
Venting O2 versus borders is a hilarious strategy as well. I hadn't thought about that.
Yep, totally.
You can alien them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Alright, so this is a case of a distress call that's a quest beginning. So these guys want me to lead them to a particular destination, so they're going to add a quest marker to my map. I found this really late, so unfortunately now I don't think I'll be able to make it to this quest and then back to the exit before the fleet catches up to me. You can see it would be 1 jump, 2 jumps, 3 jumps, 4 jumps. Oh, fuck. Well, whatever. So I'm just going straight to the exit now.
Sorry, Slug Interceptor.
So
Quest for you.
what I might do is just jump away to a node and then back again to the exit. That'll allow me to jump out just in time before the fleet gets there. And it just gives me one more chance to find extra stuff. So someone says I can make it to the store. Oh, I can make it to this close store. So I'm going to jump there and then jump back. And if you're within this like outer lighter tinted fleet region, you're fine. That's just a warning that's where the guys are going to be next time. So I'm going to go to the store, come back, and I'll have time to make it to the exit before the fleet comes. So first, so I'm not actually sure if I want to sell my missiles or my burst laser. I feel like I'm preferring the regular hull laser that I started with, or I'm sorry, the burst laser that I started with. In any case, what I want to do is fix my fleet. Someone points out that weapon pre-igniter is awesome. That's true. I didn't notice that was there. So I'm going to actually, now I have to sell something to have enough money to buy that because I just spent a bunch of money on my hull. So, God, how do I want to do this?
Well, if you didn't like using the hull laser, then maybe, and you feel like the missiles are necessary,
Yeah.
sell that.
The thing is, buying a weapon pre-igniter makes your weapons immediately available
Yeah.
when you jump to a thing, so that actually decreases the negative part of the longer charge time in the hull laser. So I think I'm just going to actually take a risk here and sell my missiles, which I just rarely use, and over time pump more money into weapon systems to eventually allow me to operate both lasers simultaneously. This is kind of a risk, and I don't know if it's necessarily the right call, but what the hell, I'm going to try it. Buy this weapon pre-igniter. Now I have almost no money, so I'm just kind of banking on the fact that I'll find some money soon, and then yeah. Anyway, so I'm going to equip my hull laser first, because I'll always have access to it immediately after jumping into a thing. Then I can switch to my burst laser, which refills faster after that point. So we'll see how this goes. I'm not the kind of player who generally like figures out a lot of the min-max stuff, so a lot of the things that I have a tendency towards may be not correct. They're just kind of things that I've fallen on due to kind of personal preference and habit, and they may not be ideal. So I don't know. So I have a choice between the NG homeworlds and the Mantis-controlled sector. The Mantis are my least favorite enemies in this game. They're these bugs who board you and just tear your guys apart. So I almost always avoid them at all costs. So I'm going to go to the NG homeworlds. The NG are a relatively friendly engineer race. There's some really creative naming going on in this game. And immediately there's a store, which is kind of frustrating because I don't have enough money to make a store visit worthwhile. So it's the only place I can go. So